Picture this. You're 25 years old. You've just landed your very first serious job. Your company hands you a big 401k packet and tells you to just, contribute a percentage of every paycheck. Maybe they'll even match some of it. So you set it up, you invest the money, and then you wait. 30 years, maybe 40. And eventually, the idea is that you're supposed to retire with enough money to comfortably survive for the rest of your life. It sounds incredibly simple, right?
That right there, that is the classic American retirement dream. But look, there is a massive problem unfolding right in front of us today. That dream was built for an entirely different America. It was engineered for a different workforce, a totally different economy, and a vastly different definition of what retirement actually means. Just think about the sheer friction in today's reality. We're constantly job hopping, housing is wildly expensive, healthcare costs are absolutely soaring, and thankfully, we're living a lot longer. The fundamental social contract of retirement has just completely changed.
Section 1, the Great Risk Shift. Okay, let's dive into this. To truly understand where the American retirement ecosystem is heading, we have to recognize how the foundation was completely rewritten right beneath our feet. For a huge chunk of the 20th century, the defined benefit pension ruled the workplace. It was totally designed around income. You worked for decades, and your employer carried all the investment risk, promising you a very specific payout at the end. But the 401k completely shattered that equation. The employer's promise shifted from, here's your guaranteed retirement income, to simply, hey, here's an account. And let's be clear, the risk didn't magically disappear. It shifted squarely onto your shoulders, your savings, your investments, your risk. Now, because of this massive shift, you might see some pretty sensationalist headlines claiming that the 401k is dying or collapsing. Let me dispel that myth for you right now. Anyone telling you the 401k is literally vanishing is probably just trying to sell you something. Look at this number. According to Fidelity's Q1 2026 data, which by the way covers over 54 million accounts, the average 401k balance is a very real, very solid $141,000.
The system is absolutely enormous, and it is actively being funded as we speak. In that exact same 2026 dataset, the average combined employee and employer contribution rate reached a record 14.4%. So yeah, the 401k itself is very much alive and kicking.
So, when we talk about the death of the traditional 401k in this explainer, we're really talking about the death of the old philosophy. That old mindset of simply saving and hoping is completely gone. As you can see, the system is rapidly evolving from a standalone, static account into a highly complex, interconnected, AI-powered financial ecosystem. Section 2, automating human behavior.
And this brings us to the first major hurdle of the traditional model, human nature itself. The original 401k model was built on this massive, totally flawed assumption that millions of ordinary people will consistently make complicated, perfectly rational financial decisions over 4 decades. Let's look at the real world for a second. You're 25, you've got rent, you've got bills, a car payment, maybe some pretty crushing student debt, and you're somehow trying to save for a house. So when Wall Street tells you to lock away part of your paycheck for something 40 years down the road, it is incredibly easy to say, you know what, I'll just increase my contribution next year. But then next year becomes 5 years, and suddenly you're 35, wondering where all the time went. Wall Street knows we aren't perfectly rational.
And that is exactly why the industry is pivoting from asking you to make the correct decision to just making the correct decision the default. Making saving invisible and automatic is literally the most powerful behavioral shift we've seen in retirement planning. In fact, in Q1 of 2026, 18% of participants increased their savings rate, and that was driven heavily by automatic escalations. You don't have to wait around for the perfect moment. The system just does it for you in the background.
Section 3, the tax war begins.
But hey, even if you save perfectly, modern career mobility introduces a whole new complication. You change jobs, you move to a new city, maybe you freelance for a bit. Suddenly, your hard-earned money is scattered across a dozen different accounts from old employers. This lack of portability leads right into one of the most critical battlegrounds for your future wealth, your tax strategy. And this brilliantly illustrates the fundamental difference in tax treatments. A traditional 401k gives you a nice tax break today, but you're going to pay taxes on those withdrawals later. A Roth 401k, on the other hand, takes after-tax money today, but your qualified withdrawals are totally tax-free in retirement. The future of retirement isn't about guessing which one is definitively better, it's about tax diversification, because you definitely don't want to bet your entire financial future on a single fragile assumption about what the tax code might look like in 40 years. And the government is already forcing this multi-bucket strategy into reality. Under the 2026 IRS rule changes for certain higher income employees making over $150,000, catch-up contributions must generally be made as Roth contributions. This isn't just some minor technical tweak. This is undeniable proof that the entire system is shifting to force savers into holding multiple types of tax-traded accounts.
Section 4. Accumulation versus distribution.
Now, this brings us to what is probably the most dramatic philosophical shift in the modern retirement era. For decades, we have been completely obsessed with building the biggest pile of money possible. But accumulating wealth is an entirely different skill set than actually distributing it. Let this question sit on the screen for a second. Let it really sink in. You open your account on your 65th birthday, and boom, you see $1 million. It sounds incredible, right? But how do you actually turn that massive asset into a reliable monthly paycheck without running out of money before you die? That right there is the terrifying fundamental weakness of the traditional 401k model.
Because when you finally flip that switch from accumulating to distributing, you suddenly face an absolute gauntlet of risks. I mean, what is your safe spend rate? What happens if the market completely crashes the exact same year you retire? What if inflation stays stubbornly high? What if you live another 30 years and your healthcare costs completely explode? A standard 401k balance tells you absolutely nothing about how to navigate these terrifying variables. To solve this, the retirement industry's next massive product isn't going to be just another basic savings account. It's going to be a highly intelligent dashboard. By leveraging AI to seamlessly coordinate your projected Social Security, your specific tax brackets, and your lifespan projections, this new ecosystem is going to answer a completely different question. Instead of just asking, how much do you have, it will finally answer, how much reliable income can your assets actually produce?
But we do need a harsh reality check here. All the AI, automation, and clever tax strategies in the world absolutely cannot solve the most basic math problem. According to the Federal Reserve's 2025 survey, an alarming 65% of non-retired adults feel they are straight up not on track for retirement. Technology can definitely make investing invisible and incredibly efficient, but it cannot eliminate the raw mathematical need to actually save enough of your income. The math simply does not care.
Section 5. The new retirement stack. So, the crucial point is, the traditional model of one job, one account, one retirement is a total relic of the past. It has been fundamentally replaced by something so much more dynamic. Welcome to the new retirement stack. It builds straight from the ground up, starting with your emergency savings, moving to your workplace 401k, your after-tax Roth savings, your flexible taxable investments, and finally, your Social Security. The future isn't just about having a 401k anymore. It's about how all these multiple layers interact to protect you against sudden market crashes, unexpected tax hikes, and job losses.
This quote beautifully summarizes the core thesis of this entire explainer. The account itself survives, but the philosophy has completely transformed. You are no longer just a passive participant in a corporate savings plan. You are now the CEO of your own personal financial operating system. And the people who truly understand this structural transition early, the ones who actively leverage time and compounding across all these multiple buckets, they will be the ones who win. The old world made a promise. It promised to take care of you if you just put your head down and worked hard for 30 years. Well, the new world looks right at you and says, here are the tools, build your own future. Yes, it's a massive responsibility, and frankly, it's a little intimidating, but it is also the absolute greatest financial opportunity of your life. Look, the financial world isn't going to wait for you to catch up, so make sure you subscribe to stay ahead of these massive shifts. The tools are right there in your hands, but when the next market crash hits, will your financial operating system be ready to protect you?